What in God's green earth the fuck is going on?
Yeah, Mercury is mercurying for sure.
Mercury is mercurying. Okay. Alrighty. You ready?
Titties out.
I look a little dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you have a busy day?
I've had a busy life, bro. I'm dead. Hi, welcome to Frequency Broads, where I'm barely alive, and I'm here with Victoria. Who? How you doing? Are you alive?
I mean, I'm pretty good at faking it, so it's amazing what bronzer will do.
Faker till you make her. You know, last episode we recorded, I believe, we were talking about how we were a month ahead and we were interested in how the energy was going to play out when you guys get to hear it. Well, a month later and not a single motherfucking recording, and here we are. I'm sure, like the rest of you, we fucking went through the ringer. I know we both did. These past 4 weeks have kicked my ass, and I look it. And okay, hold on. We also have Steve-O here. I asked him earlier, do you want to be a part of this? I said, we're not doing a whole you back and forth, but you could always just pop back in, give us some confirmation on shit you agree with. He's lighting off the EMF reader. So welcome, Steve-O. Welcome, Victoria. How you doing, girl?
Good. So just to note, this is being recorded the day before his debut.
Oh, yeah.
The episode all about Steve-O.
Round of applause for Steve-O.
But yeah, it's not all about him this time around. But we don't know what it's about. Actually, we do have one topic in mind that I'm excited. It's sort of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. One of those things that happens and you either like accept that you can get really good at embracing it or suffer through, which our misery has good company. I'm not going to deny that.
Absolutely. Okay, should we do a little freak check and then we'll get into it? It's been a month.
Dude.
Where are you at?
I feel like you're about to hold on. I'm like,
please. Can we be done?
I'm going through the motions. I'm keeping my head afloat, not yet breaching per se, but I'm here. I'm alive.
That's all you got for us. Oh, how the month has changed us. Steve-O has been fucking banging shit, walking around. It sounds like he's throwing papers. I'm like, when I first got here, I was headed towards this room and he flicked on the light while I was down the hall. He's like, here you go. I was like, oh, thank you. I was like, you take such good care of me. And then he fucking started raging upstairs. And I was like, okay, well, now I'm spooked. Can we not? So I was like, save it for the EMF reader. Yeah.
Literally, it just goes to show that even leaving the human body, like a man can still be a man baby, even in the afterlife.
Well, also the fact that I was like, I'm going to be really respectful. I'll sit here. I was alone. I was like, I'm going to get the EMF reader. You're banging around. You clearly want attention. Let me check in and make sure that you want to do the podcast, that you want to be sitting with us, that you want the EMF reader. He gave me little blips. He was like, yes, that's fine. Yeah. And now the thing is nonstop. Like when I tell you it was barely moving and he was like, I don't have a lot of energy to use it right now. I'm like, bitch, Leo season, waiting for the fucking cameras to be on. And now it's at a permanent yellow. I'm like, sure.
I am loving me some Leo season. As a Leo rising, I gotta say, this season is all about the heart sinking deep in. I'm all about, purification of the heart.
Ugh.
Doesn't that just sound good? Doesn't that feel good to say?
Honestly, I get it. It sounds good, but also you just saying that and me experiencing it right now in this past month in a way. It's the pre-integration of that. The thought of that makes me want to fucking vomit.
Yeah.
You know, because for my freak check, I rid the roller coaster that I talk about, such as life, and it was one of the craziest roller coasters I've ever experienced. My entire life pivoted completely in good, bad, and indifferent ways, just like a complete 180. And it made me realize as I grow and evolve and raise my frequency that, you know, being human, you'll never rid of shadow. You'll never rid of ego. So ego evolved, and I didn't realize that ego was like, you know, like fucking, And I was like, yeah, this does feel good. Yeah, fuck yeah. And then I crashed and burned, and all good things came out of that. And I'm still in the tying up phase, loose ends, and just really feeling the space of being in between and leaning into, you know, acceptance and leaning into surrendering and knowing that I don't see why we needed to pivot my life in the particular ways that we pivoted. But I know it will work out best case scenario. And what it was doing was purifying my heart, purifying my body, purifying my energy, and saying everything that no longer serves is not only going to leave you, it's going to fucking burn to the ground. Because we are tired of waiting for you to like go gentle. Like, it's time to move on. You've upgraded so much in this past couple of months since I emerged as a priestess, honestly. And they're like, we are sick and tired of you still playing these patterns. It is time to fucking wrap it up. And it hurt like a bitch, but I am surviving. I'm finding my footing after the roller coaster, you know, just a little wobbly, waiting to get regrounded. Leo season to just be like, let's let all that go and step into like shining bright.
Well, okay, as some East Coast girlies, we are very loyal, and I think loyal to a fault. And we have people's backs in times that that's how we're hardwired. And I think it has fucked us in a lot of different scenarios because the people we will ride or die for will drop us with the blink of an eye and not think twice because it's all about them.
And you know what? It is. Everyone's the center of their own universe. And I am really, truly trying to step away from this and just be like, snip, get it. You can perceive me as however you want to perceive me. I am doing the work that I have to do. I am like course correcting, being accepting, taking accountability, like doing what I got to do to realign, because you're always going to stumble, and it's what you do after the fact that matters, and how other people handle that is completely their fucking problem. That's not my problem anymore. And it's going to be a continued practice for me this coming year to just really lean into, for lack of all the details, not being that version of myself that I just was, that I've been for a really long time and worked not to be, and then jumped right back into it when given the opportunity. And, you know, just overall wanting to process trauma for people, wanting to support people to an excessive amount, wanting to fix everything and put out all the fires. And like, even when I don't know how to do it, and when you're running like that, you stumble hard. But if you accept that you fell and you put a fucking Band-Aid on, you move on, then you're ready for the next thing, you know?
Which it's so ironic that you're doing all these things and you're transmuting energy and you're doing like serious, like God's work. And then you end up being the villain.
Yeah. Oh, I am 100% the villain in, I'm sure, plenty of people's stories in my lifetime. And it's interesting because more of those people are coming up. not like actively, but even just like in the stories I'm telling or reaching out to other people or like situations that are happening right now. And it's just like, it's an interesting thing because, you know, data is such a strong point for me to pay attention to how I move in the world and be able to reevaluate and shift and realign. So you would think if I'm the villain in all these people's stories that I must be the villain, right? That's the common denominator. But when you look at the bigger picture and you really sit as to like why I'm the villain and their perspective is like, oh, well, yeah, I was, but a helpful villain, a villain who was doing it with your best interests and intention and had your back for, and you weren't ready for that. And that's perfectly fine.
And what sucks is the people experiencing us as the villains won't even really fully comprehend probably until they cross over and they're reviewing their soul contracts and they're like, bitch, my sister was a villain, bitch, because X, Y, and Z, because they helped me grow, right?
Well, that's my whole thing with this whole situation is I'm looking at right off the bat, I knew I had a soul contract. I knew there was something up this. And usually, you know, I was reflecting on the other night. I'm like, I guess soul contracts kind of come with a lesson or an opportunity or, you know, something like that. So I was just trying to think instead of being angry, instead of blaming, instead of trying to project or, you know, assume their perspective. Like I'm trying to let all of that go and just be like, well, what was the purpose of all of that? Because everything you've experienced in the past led you to who you are now and was important in that. So everything that's happening now is important for who you're about to become and who you want to become. So what was the purpose of this whole fucking situation from start to finish? And, you know, I just kept asking myself why and where does that come from? And, you know, was able to gather a couple of little nuggets of truth for myself. But that's really kind of the focus right now is how do I get out of the pity train, because I definitely was for the past week. I was just like, this is too much. It needs to stop. Like, I'm over it. Like, let's be done. But I was like, I'm not doing the lesson, right? Like, I'm just walking away from it and being like, I wish it was over. Well, then it's just going to happen again because I'm not learning anything from it. So hopefully, fucking end of that cycle. Now on to the next ride. I'll take the merry-go-round next, please.
Or the swings.
Love the swings.
The swings that are also a merry-go-round.
The ones that go high in the air. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. For sure. A little bit of adrenaline, but easy.
Letting yourself blow in the breeze.
Yeah. Oh, God, that's what I need. Which, this is why our topic today is change.
As I put my foot up.
Because it's inevitable. It's important. It's a fucking whirlwind.
It's the only thing that's guaranteed. That's the most annoying part about it.
Yes.
Change and death.
Yeah. Which is just change. Right? Steve-O, isn't death just a change in matter?
And perhaps this episode is dedicated to you after all because we're helping you prepare to cross over.
Ooh, which is a change in itself. And it's something that I've been toying with this whole situation is the duality of everything happens for a reason, right? Everything's like happening for our best case scenario, hands down, no matter how unpleasant. It's for your best interest that this happens at this time for you to whatever. But then you also got free will.
But hold on. You don't spend too much energy trying to figure out the purpose, though.
Oh, yeah.
That is such a waste.
Yeah.
Focus on experiencing whatever it is. Don't let it sink you down too far. Mm-hmm. But also don't let anyone tell you what to do. Free will. Free will. You.
Yeah. Well, first, to mimic what you're saying, you don't have to go crazy. Give yourself 2 minutes after the experience is done. Don't try to do it while you're experiencing it. You can't reflect on like why it's happening because you haven't finished it yet. So like ride it out, experiencing it, and then just take a little bit of time. Like I took like 30 minutes, an hour, and was just like, what did I learn from this situation? Not even why is it happening necessarily. What do I get to learn from this situation or gain from this situation? And then that's it.
Wait, can I tell them that Tara figured out who the sheep in wolf's clothing was? Or is it wolf in sheep's clothing?
I keep saying that too. It's wolf in sheep's clothing.
That makes sense for this scenario.
Yeah.
But
I
it
guess
can
you
be
can
either.
be a sheep in wolf's
I
clothing.
Googled it. Of course.
But I don't even want to give any more energy to that situation.
No. But in the last episode, you do mention it, and we were like, who is it?
Who could it be? And then why haven't we recorded for a month?
And it wasn't me.
She's the sheep in wolf's clothing.
I'm too pretty to be a sheep or a wolf. I'm a fucking cat.
Or a wolf.
Woof. Wolf. I can't say the word woof. Oh, change is an interesting topic for us. I mean, prominence. I'm a Scorpio sun, Tara's a Scorpio rising, and that's very fixed placements that don't necessarily like change because we like our routine and we like the stability, security, and yet our soul contracts and our soul paths, it's all change all the time. And it's something we're really, really good at, but we don't always necessarily like it. So I think having our perspectives on it today are pretty valid sources because not a lot of people like change. And if you do like change, you probably are addicted to chaos, in which case we probably need a whole nother episode for you.
And then there's also that, like, the routine of the change, right?
The anticipation of it.
Right. Like, for even something as basic as, like, when I was growing up, I moved, like, every year, every 2 years. So when that time came around, let's say we ended up staying at a house for 2 years, maybe 3 years. Ooh. I needed to, like, change my room up or redecorate or do something because the routine became the change. The routine was the change. So it is something you begin to anticipate. So it's something we've experienced a lot and are currently experiencing. And I think, I guess what I've learned throughout this whole thing is just what I was saying before. If you can just lean into acceptance, like whatever the change has to be, changing your job, change in relationships, change in your home, change in pay or the way you express yourself, like if you can just lean into that and accept, like, hey, this thing is changing, whether it's my view about it, my feelings about it, or the physical reality I'm existing in, like, just accept that it's going to fucking happen because it's happening already.
But let me ask you this. Is it change that is self-prophesized? Is that a word?
Yeah.
Or is it change that you are leaning back, trusting the universe, trusting the process, and letting change happen for you?
So I think it could be either or, right? Because if you're really recognizing that your current job or relationship is not healthy for you and you break that off, that's you taking charge of that change. That's you saying, I have the power and autonomy to say, I don't want to do this anymore and I'm leaving. Versus you getting fired from your job or you, like, someone breaking up with you or somebody leaving you or, you know, a major incident happening to your car or your home that makes you have to change those things. I think both of them happen when we're aware of how our body is reacting and feeling the energy collectively and personally, then maybe we can anticipate that change and then make the actions for us that transition a little bit easier than, you know, in my perspective, where they were like, hey, maybe you should slow down. Hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. Hey, what? And I was like, we're good. And they're like, okay, well, we're just going to do it for you then.
Exactly. And I feel like that's what I was kind of trying to lean up into is like, there will be signs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Are you listening? Are you ignoring the need for change? And how can you like embrace change with grace and ease and surrender so it doesn't have to be so freaking painful and shake up your whole world? And asking for a friend.
I think too, and it's nice that this episode's coming out next week, so it's like right in par. The past 2 weeks, like early July, have been super crazy energetically, like some of the most powerful times in 2024. We saw fucking just a whole shit ton of collective things happening, including an attempted assassination. And Biden stepping down. But it's just like, can you pay attention to those collective energies as well as what you're rocking with to really be like, change is coming?
Okay, another thing I've been seeing a ton of, and I love that it's being so publicly talked about, is the timeline shift, right? Like, we all know that this is well, some of us know and accept that and can feel when this is happening, but I feel like everyone just had their world rocked.
Mm-hmm.
And now we can, like, accept timeline shifts as, like, commonplace.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's a fun thing to accept, but it's happening and it's going to continue to happen and continue to get weirder. Like, okay, Dr. Ruth and Richard Simmons dying the same weekend. Did you not think that they died like a decade ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Timeline shift.
Well, it's so funny because the one thing I have open in my notebook is about timeline shift. And I forgot that I wanted to talk about it today. But yesterday, I was on a call with Kari and our group, and she said something that just made me go like, hello, that's fucking obvious. We talk a lot about raising the frequency of the earth. We talk a lot about raising the frequency of ourselves or the collective. And we know that there are different dimensions of realities layered on top of each other. And each of those dimensions are a timeline. So if we're raising the frequency of the earth, I don't know why this like really blew my mind because it's so obvious, but if we're raising the frequency of the earth, or you individually, you are creating a new timeline. And I was like, that's so fucking obvious, duh. But also, so you having these big energetic shifts, these big changes in your life that allow you to lean into acceptance, to lean into authenticity, to lean into trust, to surrender, all that shit, you're raising your frequency because you're not having that denser fear-based frequency. You're literally creating a new timeline. And I think with the solar flares that happened earlier this month, all of us were getting upgrades in our frequency. And then all of a sudden we are, as a collective, birthing a new timeline right now. So this chaotic energy that's coming from the cosmos, that's coming from inner earth, that's coming from internally, we must use the in-between, the chaotic energy, and use it to alchemize and create new energy, or use it to form this new timeline with certain intentions.
Mind blown. Those who may not be aware of what's happening might, or even if you are aware and you're not accepting change and you're not letting go, you're probably living out two timelines at the same time. And we've talked about like living out lifetimes at the same time, right? But like timelines are a little different because your energy is so spread thin when you are walking two paths at the same time and not choosing one or the other. And it's good to walk the line and to look at both and see your options and make the conscious choice to make the leap of faith over to the timeline that you believe is for your highest good, and asking your guides and having the guidance, right? Like tuning in and knowing you're not going to make the wrong decision. You're not going to end up in like purgatory. It's actually more purgatory-like to be walking two timelines. So.
And that's where free will comes in, which makes things so interesting. Because for us, another thing Kari was mentioning last night was when I was explaining my situation, she was like, Tara, all it takes is for you to get off your highest timeline, especially when you're rocking it already, right? I came out of Priestess. I was fucking rocking that crazy. Everything was just like so good. Everything was just manifesting quickly. And she's like, when you're rocking that and then something comes along that ticks you off 1%, that 1% is projected so big in the physical reality, in the physical realm. So for me, all I did was knock off my path 1%, and it took me for a motherfucking ride. You know, like it really sent me off, and it took a lot to course correct that 1 fucking %. Now, if I really look at what just happened to me, really wasn't all that bad, right? People have gone through, it was nothing traumatic. It was just something really hard and quick and changed a lot. But when people are further off, you're going to experience a lot more chaos, a lot more energy flowing in that could feel unpleasant in order to push you back onto that path. So really try to stay on as close as you can, because that 1% for me wasn't fucking enough. And that's why change is inevitable, because they need you here. You need to be here. You want to be here. But with free will, you get to go, well, I'll just go off 1 or 2% and see how that looks.
Because that 1 or 2% is the most extreme leaky energy you can be existing in. It's all an energy game, and where you're giving your energy to. And if you're giving it to the 1% that's not for your higher good or what's in alignment for you, it's going to drain you.
Yeah. I even realized that, like, and prior to these past 2 weeks, this roller coaster that I have been on for the past couple months, I would say, if I really encompass all of this.
Hold on. Isn't it so funny that I asked you, like, what your favorite ride is?
I know. And I was like, roller coaster. And that's another reason why I've been able to kind of observe it the way that I did. Because now I have that perspective. I was like, oh, your girl is a fucking adrenaline junkie, a drama queen, and she loves the high highs and the low lows. And that my soul gets to come here and feel deeply for everything. When you cry, it's because you have the maximum amount of, like, brain chemistry for that emotion. I cry constantly. I am feeling so fucking much, and my soul wants that because it only happens here. So once I'm able to recognize that and go, oh, this was a really intense roller coaster, and I just, like, hit the at the bottom and landed at the station. And now I get to choose to say, okay, Tara, get the fuck off the ride and walk away. Or do I stay on? Do I wait outside and find my footing and go back on? Like, I get to make that choice of what ride I go next. And that has been able to, or that has allowed me to really take this change and take this difficult situation and just be like, well, Oversoul, you got the ride of a lifetime in 4 months. Congratulations. I'm really fucking proud of you. Can we slow down now? And then I know for a fact I'll be on another roller coaster at some point, not in the near future or not in the far future. Hopefully it's a good one, like
'cause she
marriage
likes it.
or something.
Oh,
That'll be a roller coaster.
at least it's with Andrew.
Yeah. I will say throughout this whole thing, he has been incredible, just like super supportive. Even when he's like, I don't get why you're feeling this way. Like, just holding space so I can explain it and being like, okay, I see that. Like, I hear you.
Which is so amazing and so incredibly sexy for a man to hold space.
It is. It is. It is. Hey, Andrew. Just kidding. He doesn't listen.
That's why it's so good to talk about him on
I
here.
know. I was like, do you know that the podcast is like, I don't know, 50% you, your stories? He's like, what? He's like, I don't want to hear that. Anyway, change.
We won't tell all of Andrew's stories if he makes me dinner sometime soon. I like the threat that will not be heard.
Yeah. Well, a good change that happened to me recently was I moved. And for the first time in my life or Andrew's life, we are in a single family home.
Yay.
And it feels really good. We're renting. We're not buying. Don't get too excited. I ain't making that kind of money. But that is a good change that I was pushing for. Was it hard? Was it scary? Absolutely. But we're here, and I will have to post a little video of my new space because it's so cute. But I also don't want to until you actually come over and see it. Okay. You got to see it in person.
Deal. Maybe I'll record you and your new
I'm like,
MTV
what are you doing
Cribs.
tomorrow? I'm busy tomorrow.
Me too.
What are you doing after this? Whatever. We'll talk about it later. I'm like, nightcap at my house? Anyway, Steve-O, how do you feel about change? I feel like he's just been at a consistent, here I am, here I am, here I am.
It wasn't even blinking that much last week, huh?
No.
Oh, now he gets shy.
I know. I guess the only other thing that I think is important is when you're recognizing that change is happening, or when you're making that change yourself and you're in this in-between time. As I mentioned, it is a time of the most powerful magic. So taking that void to like really set intentions, really put forth like the timeline you're stepping into, the reality you're stepping into. But also, and I'm sure I've said this before, not sitting in the frequency of waiting or anticipation, because then what you're doing is attracting opportunities that make you wait or anticipate what's next. So it's about stepping into that timeline, right? Using the magic to say, let me use this energy to visualize what it's going to feel like to already have these things. I heard this great analogy for it. If you won the lottery and you brought the lottery ticket or the check to your bank and they said that it's going to clear in 10 days, those 10 days when you don't have the money yet, you're still going to feel rich. You're still going to act and embody the lifestyle of being rich. So if you can do that, then what you're attracting is that, not the attracting of waiting, anticipating, nervousness, fear, because you'll get whatever you're putting out. It's an energy game, right? What circuit are you running? That's super important in these times of change. And I even noticed for me, every time I was like, my God, I wish this was over. I wish this was over. I wish this was over. It would give me something that made me still feel like I wish it was over. You know, like it was like someone texting me about it or an email going, or, hey, we need to have a meeting, and, you know, or like the name coming up or whatever, and just being like, oh my God, now I have to think about it again and think about how I wish this was over. And the second I was like, it's over. And if it's not, then whatever is meant to come from it will come from it. And I honestly don't care, because I'm going to be happy no matter what. It's over. Like, it's over.
There's so much power in saying thank you instead of please. I also kind of like to use thank you in like as a substitute for fuck you.
Oh, I use thank you a lot in a substitute for sorry. You know, like, sorry I'm late. Thank you for waiting.
Yeah.
So, and a big thing in change too, I'm sorry, they're all like flooding to me, is forgiveness to yourself for grieving something maybe you know wasn't good for you, for the mistakes you made in the past, for putting yourself in that situation in the first place. It's with acceptance and taking accountability comes forgiveness, because you're saying, I will not do that again, or I will do something different, or I will show up for myself. And that's it. Then we get to fucking drop it. Stop hounding yourself or hounding others. Like, I'm sorry, I got to rant for a second, because there is somebody in my sphere who loves to just keep fucking at it. You're going to tell me something you don't like. I'm going to look at you and respectfully and truthfully and honestly say, I hear you. You know, obviously more to it, depending on what they're saying. But I hear you. I accept what you're saying. I apologize. And this is what I'm going to do. Or whatever it is, in the whatever I got to say in that regard. And that should be it. Right? That should be the end of that conversation. But it's, oh, well, and this. It's like, I already just said, I hear you and I'm doing something about it. Or I hear you and I'm accepting it, or I'm apologizing. Well, speaking of forgiveness, forgive us for kind of not knowing what the fuck just happened. And I'm sure in editing, I'll cut most of that out. But the computer did a whole kerfuffle of shit. So
wait, will you take some screenshots though? Because our you know, when the computer or whatever Zoom call freezes and it's always on the most ridiculous face you could be making, prepare for that, because this is like our Mercury retrograde mugshot. So I do want to touch on what you're saying, this person who just keeps on going, not being able to receive being validated, which is next week's topic, is so detrimental and keeps you in a state of resentment. And it kind of stirs the pot of resentment without you really knowing that that's what's happening. And I know firsthand because I feel like I've done this in my mind. I don't always necessarily do it because I love to be validated and I really do accept and receive validation. But if I don't get the validation in the way that I want it, resentment brews. And the power of resentment. I know we had a whole episode on resentment with our guest, Jeff.
Did we have a guest?
Didn't we?
I don't know. Go check out the resentment episode. We're going to as well because we can't remember.
I'm like, is that?
It might have been with Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah. That was so many lifetimes ago or timelines ago. Who knows what was said?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But how resentment feels in my body right now, it feels like, to use your words, energetic poison. And I've been sitting with like, what is it really trying to teach me? And I think it's so simple as to refocusing the energy back on myself and not externally. Because as soon as you spark that thought of resentment and like dwelling in the past, it takes you out of the present, takes your energy onto someone else. And it's probably someone you don't like very much. And it's just a really good detour to get you back into your heart and focusing on yourself, on your mind, on your thoughts, what you can control.
And then you're not changing. You think you are because you're changing like the outside of it all, but you're not changing the things that you need to, like your patterns or your perspective or your, mindset or your energy. So really just make sure you're checking in with yourself every so often.
Just like daily.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Just on the drive.
Girl,
in the
how
shower.
you doing?
Like, I was going to say, while you're taking a shit.
I know, I had that thought too. That's a great time to check in. Put your phone down.
Yeah.
When's the last time you disinfected it, by the way? I know.
Yikes.
Do we end on that note?
Let's change the subject. Thank you for just being here always. We love you so much. Dun, 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 dun.